All right, our meeting today is on Tradition 5, and at this time, I will turn the meeting over to our first speaker, Mitzi.
Mitzi Dawn, I'm an addict.
Hey, Mitzi.
Hey, family. We made it here in the nick of time. Literally. Forgot about the hour change. I was like, we're going to be fine. We're going to get there like 1:30. It'll be fine. It was still fun, but I'm grateful to be here. Grateful to be in Knoxville and see everybody. My clean date is October 22nd, 2008. So I just celebrated 16 years. What are they doing over there?
Aging and recovery.
What are they doing?
Aging and recovery.
Oh, they're loud. They got a comedian over there. If anybody wants to leave, I understand. It's okay.
We can't hear.
Oh yeah. Oh, they gotta be loud. So I got a call asking if I wanted to come and do this, and I always say yes. And I never want to, I'll tell you that. Like, I'll be honest, I never want to do it. But whenever someone calls and says, will you come speak, or will you come play, or will you come and do this, I say yes. Because that's what we learn to do, right? When we come into the rooms, we say yes. So each group has but one primary purpose: to carry the message to the addict who still suffers. Do I talk for 20 minutes?
20 minutes is fine.
Oh, is that like a good idea?
Yeah, that's a good
Okay.
idea.
We are not organized. So, primary purpose: to carry the message to the addict who still suffers. So when I first heard that was the topic, I was like, oh, boring. I wanted to do something cool. And then, but what it does is, when I say yes to things that I don't want to do, it forces me to start looking at the literature, and listening to things, and reading things, and getting into the tradition. And I was like, this actually is pretty awesome. Actually, this is the best tradition ever. It really got me thinking a lot. So when you think about the primary purpose, the first thing I thought about is that, like, how purposeless I was. And how beautiful is it that, like, I don't even have to think of a purpose. When I walk in the doors, I just get handed one. Doesn't mean it has to be my only ever, but, like, look, not only are you here and you're trying to do something new, but you actually have purpose. And I took that really seriously, probably because it was serious, but also probably because it was the only other thing that I could grab onto in that moment, when it was just me, because I had lost custody of my kids, and I was having to move in with my sponsor because I was being evicted. Like, all of these things were happening, and I felt like I had no purpose. So to hear that, there's, welcome. Also, you have purpose, and I mean that. Like, the first couple of meetings that I went to, when I heard people sharing that had 15 years, I was like, why are they here still? They don't have lives? Like, what do they do? Like, I didn't understand why they would still be having to come. I didn't understand. But so when they talked, I didn't listen to them. But there was a woman that had 3 days, and I was trying to get 2 days. And she said, I drove to the liquor store last night. I perked up. Like, well, what happened? And she said, I waited in the parking lot, and I sat there, and I prayed, and I let you all know I didn't drink. I went home. And then she said, and this morning when I woke up, I was really grateful that I didn't use last night. And so when I'm telling you, you get 1 day, 2 days, 3, like, you share that, because that saved my life. To this day, I think about that moment when she said, I woke up this morning, I was really glad that I didn't use. And I was thinking, how many times did I wake up thinking, like, who is that? And where's my shoe? And, where did I get this tiara? And, like, where's my money? And, oh, my car has a flat tire. All of these things, like, why did I do that? I've never woke up sober thinking, like, I really wish I would have got messed up last night. Ever. Not on my worst days, right? So I thought that was just think about purpose, her purpose. Like she shared, I have no idea who she was or where she's at or if she's still sober, but that changed my life. And I still think about that now. Like if I think about wanting to use, I think about that. That was day 2. So the other thing that I was thinking about when I was reading, because I had to read, where it says, at its heart, Tradition 5 is about communication. Carrying the message is a matter of communicating with the suffering addict in a language that he or she can hear and understand. That's so beautiful, because I hear things differently than other people. I know some people that like do really well with like tough love, like, and I crumble and then flip people off and leave. So I don't do well with like that tough love. And I found the people, and my sponsor, Mama Holly, she used to get on to everybody, right? Some people know her. They're like, you did not mess with Holly. But Holly figured out quickly that that I didn't need that. She figured out that like I needed to be loved and encouraged and babied, and that's what she did. So she spoke to me in the language that I understood. And I would hear her get on to other people. I used to just think that I was really good. I was like, I must be like the best sponsee ever, because she never yells at me. I was not the best sponsee. She figured out how to love me, and she did it like that. And so that's another lesson for me, is like, just because I think that I'm doing something for somebody, and I think that I have to meet them where they're at, and I also have to speak to them in a language they understand. Even if you're thinking literally, as much as I would want to help. We had a woman show up the other day. She had a flat tire. She was from Uber, and she was Spanish speaking only. And I tried to use a Google Translator, and it told me her car was singing, and I'm pretty sure that's not what was happening. But I couldn't speak to her, right? And so even though even though I wanted, that's my dog. Even though I wanted to speak to her and I wanted to help her, like my whole heart, I was like, how do I do this? She couldn't understand me because I wasn't speaking her language. And so isn't that just so important when it says here at the heart of Tradition 5 is communication, like figuring out how to communicate with people. So, if you're like one of those people that are like gruff and you're like, well, you find enough pain, get out there, and the person isn't responding to that, but you really want to help, maybe we can like look at that and go, hey, well, what are you not getting that you need, do you think? I want to support you, and I don't know how. If you were me, how would you support you? I'm not suggesting that the other way is wrong, because, like I said, there's people that need that. They need that. And I hate it because I'm not really good at it. I'm just like, Coley, go yell at that person, please, because I can't do it. So the other thing that I'm thinking about is at that same meeting where I met the girl that changed my life, I got kicked out. It was a different fellowship. And I don't say this to say that other fellowship is wrong. I actually was 1,000% wrong in this meeting, but I didn't know. So it was in the Liquid Fellowship, and they were all sharing about not being able to stop doing that. And I was just like, well, that's ridiculous. Why don't you just stop that? Like, my problem is this particular drug and the way that I do it, and that's like a major thing. Like, I don't want to hear about this lady drinking too much box wine. Like I could not connect the dots. And I started sharing, and I started listing off drug names, and they like literally just shut me up and sent me out. Yes, this is at 202 in Nashville. They don't fool around. And I was like, F these people. What kind of people? I'm over here looking for help. I was very entitled and very, angry, and 2 days clean. And a lady named Rhonda followed me out to the parking lot. And she was like, I'm going to take you to another meeting. And she drove me out to Lunch Bunch. There's a Narcotics Anonymous meeting in Nashville. And I'm like, oh, another meeting. And I walked in, and they said, if you're like us, that's the first thing I heard. I sat down. If you're like us, you know that one is too many, and 1,000 is never enough. And I was like, oh, yeah, that's. That's me. Okay, this is where I belong. So that's how I found Narcotics Anonymous. Literally got kicked out of an AA meeting for saying drug names, and then driven out to lunch bunch and dropped off. So there was another person that was willing to speak my language or find people that did. Like, where would I be if she didn't do that? Because I was done. I tried. F these people. I tried to go there. They sent me out, you know? So, I love that we can be of service in here and we can be creative about it. So when I first came in, I would find people that were doing certain things and I wanted to be just like them. Holly, for instance, my sponsor, she's a brilliant businesswoman and she had spreadsheets and she was really great at numbers and doing all these things, and we needed a treasurer, and I was like, well, maybe I should do that. She was like, why would you think you should be treasurer? Like, I was not good with numbers, and I'm not somebody that does math, you know, especially at that time. I was like songwriter, just walking around whimsical, rhyming things in my head. I'm like, I can count money. And she was really encouraging, like, what do you have to offer? Like, what are you special at? Like, what can you bring? What do you love? What do you want to do? Because the truth is, if I would have came in and started doing spreadsheets, I probably would have left as well. I like spreadsheets now, but at that time, right? And so when you find people and you're like, oh, I want to be like, it doesn't mean that service can look like anything. So it can look like showing up today when I didn't want to, or it can look like opening the meeting, and it can look like spreadsheets, and it can look like making coffee. I think that the biggest thing is that making it so that when somebody walks in the door, they feel loved and they feel welcomed, and not just by two people. Because we always know those two people. I used to be one, Coley's one. I used to be that way, and I'm not as good at it anymore. But Coley's someone that there's a new person, that's his new best friend. He is kidnapping a newcomer, and we're going riding with the top down, and let's talk about how great life is now. And I'm like, please don't bring him here. Like, I'm super tired. He talks 90 miles an hour, and I'm super, like, and I'm, you know, and I have to, like, remember, right? I have to remember where I came from and the person that put up with my butt talking 90 miles an hour, not making sense. Like, I have to remember those things. I'm not as great at that anymore. I do other things really well, but I let the people that are really, I don't shame myself for not kidnapping newcomers, right? So, like, there's people that are great at that, and I'm going to let them do it. I'm not going to let a newcomer walk out of a meeting without being kidnapped. Right? So I'm watching, like, oh, no, who? Okay, yes, okay, somebody got him. Okay, I don't have to do it. Like, I watch, but I'm not volunteering for the things that I'm not really great at anymore. And I let other people do it. But that's the cool thing about being able to be creative with how we give back, is that, like, we don't have to be that person all the time. Just make sure somebody's being that person. You know what I mean? Stewardship, they use that word. Stewardship is the care of something entrusted to me. So that's what Narcotics Anonymous is, the stewardship. Like, it's entrusted to us. Like, they trust us with this amazing, life-changing, spiritual journey. Yeah, this gift. They trust us. And I would like to not be the people that screw it up. But besides that, I just can't imagine what would have happened if this wasn't here when I came in. If y'all weren't speaking that language, and I didn't hear the words that I needed to hear, and I didn't get the hugs that I needed to get, and I didn't get the encouragement, and I didn't find the sponsor that I found, who just decided no matter what she does, I'm just going to love her. I'm going to love her. I'm going to love her. And she passed away a couple years ago. This just made me think of that, when her whole, I'm going to love her. She literally found out that she had stage 4, and it was everywhere. It was during COVID, so nobody was going to the doctor. And this one was like the only form of love, like unconditional love, my only example of it ever in my life. So you don't have like parents that did that. So this person, not just a sponsor, but really significant in shaping like who I am as a human. And And when I asked her, when I found out that she found out that she was dying, and it was literally the second phone call, just like, this is really hard, and this is what they're saying, this is the prognosis, this is the diagnosis. And I said, what can I do? Like, what can I do for you? And she said, hand to God, just tell me that I told you I love you enough. Not like making up a story to, like, that was what she said on day 2 of knowing that she was going to die of cancer. Just tell me that I told you how much I love you enough. And I was like, you did. Because I know. Like, there's things that I know, like that woman, she loved me. And it was not the kind of love that you can find anywhere. I wouldn't have found it. Yeah, I wouldn't have found it. So, so when we think about, like, primary purpose, I mean, she definitely, we could trust her in the stewardship, and she took it very seriously, and she figured out how to do that, and she saved me, and she loved me. Her primary purpose, yes, but to have like a whole family of that, like not just one person. Now it's not just one person, but it's like a group of people who, ironically, yesterday, I still was at her house celebrating Thanksgiving. And everybody was there except her body. Her spirit was there, of course. So they're carrying it on, right? Chuck, her husband, when she died, before she died, Chuck was very standoffish. We were just the girls. He would give us a side hug and point upstairs, like quick side hug and point. He really talked to us much, and when he did, we were just like, oh, he's yelling at us, you know. He's very, yeah. He's gruff, and he was just opinionated and just inappropriate, you know, always had. So the craziest thing is she died, and damn if he didn't just immediately become, like, if she left anything, she left the way that she loves with him. Because the second that she left, he was calling, wanting to come over, and he's bringing me a saw because I was learning to do woodworking. He's taking me to Home Depot. So I lost a mama, and then I got a daddy. So Narcotics Anonymous did that. I didn't do that. I'm sure higher power is mixed in there all over the place, but that's what Narcotics Anonymous did for me. Lost the mama, Holly, and then got Daddy Chuck. And he's not the daddy that we would all, you know, he's decided he's gay, and he's getting tattoos, and he's just, like, what did the guy say? He's a carnival, and he is. But he's a beautiful, beautiful carnival that I wouldn't trade for anything in the world. And do you know what? He's doing things and figuring out things for the first time that he hasn't had to do because he was married for 34 years. So, I don't know. We all kind of get to go on this journey together, and then he thanks me for hanging in there with him. And I don't have the heart to tell him, like, I literally, like, have to be, like, you're my person. Like, my person left, and then she left you with this weird heart full of love. Like, you're my family now. Like, you're thanking me, but honestly, like, this is us. We ride together. This is what we're doing. So that's what Narcotics Anonymous did. We think about purpose, and we think about the way that I was welcomed into that room is how I really hope that you're being received. I can tell you that when I didn't feel like I was being received that way, it was because I was looking at, I'll end with this, I was looking at all of the differences. I had a lot of reasons why I thought that I was different, you know, and that you didn't understand me. Every time somebody was sharing about needing to get up, and they would say, I wake up in the morning and I have to get what I need to get, you know, so I can get right. And I was just like, I didn't use every day. You know, like in my head, I'm like, I didn't do that. Oh, I never put it in my body like that. Oh, I didn't do that. You know, all of these things. pointing out all those reasons why I was different from you definitely built a wall and made it where I was separated from you guys. So no matter how much a group is practicing their primary purpose and inviting me, if I'm walking in and going, but that's not right, I don't really like that, and then I'm totally not like that, I'm not receiving, but they're still giving it, right? And so when I noticed that, I got a tattoo of a hummingbird, and so if you think about like when a vulture is flying around all over the, what does it always find? Dead stuff. Yeah, finds dead, stinky things with maggots and flies, and that's why? Because that's what he's looking for. Vulture is looking for that, and that's what he wants, and so he's going to find it. And so I got a hummingbird because I was like, I think I'm flying around looking for dead shit. Like, I think I'm flying around looking for reasons to not belong and not believe and not accept these people that are trying to love me. And I need to look for reasons why I do belong. What are the reasons that I belong? What are the reasons, how am I similar? How are we the same? And so when I did that, got the hummingbird because a hummingbird flies around and he finds, what, nectar, right? Or the little bird feeder that's got sugar in it. Either way, I'd settle for either one. Either one's fine. Nectar, sugar, whatever. But they're looking for it because they're looking for it. The hummingbird can find the dead things just as easy, but it searches and it seeks out to find. And so if you're looking around and you're like, I'm in a group and I don't really like any of these people, that's okay because there's other people. So it's either not your people, they're not speaking your language, or you're looking at all the differences. But if we look at those two things and go, which one is it? Okay, am I looking at the differences and I suss it out, or are they just not speaking my language and do I need to communicate and find people that do? The good news is there's thousands of us. And so the chances of finding somebody that speaks your language is astronomical if you just keep trying, okay? Anyway, I love you guys. Thanks.
Thank you so much, Mitzi. So our next speaker is Richard. And I made sure, he said, well, either I'll be first or second. I said, well, you can take the second so you can take the longest.
Appreciate it. My name's Richard. I'm an addict. Hey, Richard. So once I had 11 years clean, and then I turned 12. Right? That's a true story. My two brothers, my mom, dad, and many friends that I grew up with, they died because of this disease. Right? And they never heard the message. Our faith tradition states that every group's primary purpose is to carry the message to the addict who still suffers. There's a lot of times that I was suffering in between 12 to 27 years old in my active addiction. I didn't know anybody that was clean. I didn't know anybody working a program. I didn't know that it was possible. I just seen what it could take from me, where my life was headed. The jails, institutions, death, right? I'd seen all that. Been to, mental hospital, jails, had my share of prison. But I know that that's why it's near and dear to my heart, right? It's because I've lost people. And I know there's a lot of us who have lost people. It's, fuck. Give me a second. Don't laugh yet. God damn it.
You got this.
Appreciate it.
Can we laugh now?
Yes. You can. I read for like an hour and a half coming on up here and lost what I was going to say. All right. So just the message, right? When I got out of prison, I was forced to go into a sober living home, and this sober living home made me go to meetings. I didn't hear the message until May 31st of 2022. That's when I picked up a white key tag, right? And my fiance, she was one of those people who called the hotline. She was searching for somebody to help, right? She went looking for the message. So when I go into these meetings and I see a bunch of people with some clean time, they're talking 11 years, 18 years, 20-something years. That's amazing. At the time, I had a little bit of clean time, but I was not in recovery, right? So it wasn't by choice. And I knew when I got out of prison that that's what was going to be important, right? Need to stay clean. I need to keep my head about me. I need to get a job. I need to pay parole. I want to see my kids. One of the first times I seen my daughter when I got out of prison, she asked if I could go back. I said, yeah, I could. She said, if you go back, I'll never talk to you again. She was 10 years old. So I knew then that the only thing I cared about in life, knew that if I go back, it's because I'm stupid, right? Because it'd be my fault, and she wasn't going to put up with it. So I had to give it a fair shake, give it an honest try. I worked my steps. At step 3, I didn't know if I was ready to really fully commit, right? So I had to turn it over. This is it. So I did. Go on to step 4, and it took a month and a half. I was mad all the time. I was looking at all the stuff that I didn't want to look at. But every day, right, 90 and 90, every day I'd go to a meeting and I would hear someone share that message, right? That an addict, any addict, can not only quit using drugs, but lose the desire to use and find a new way to live. And it's true. It works. Not only with the guy with 10 years, 2 years, but the person with 2 days, 3 days, because they didn't use that day. That reaffirms to me a couple years into this program when I see somebody come in and they're new and they're going through it and they share about an experience right at a liquor store and they didn't drink, or when they go around family or friends and they have to leave, right? Someone gave them a message, they remembered it, they took it with them, they shared it with other addicts. That's why our fellowship continues to grow, because it's been proven in the lives of many addicts that this works. So like H&I, right? PR, we carry the message to other addicts that might not have the availability to find a meeting. Now, all of those years I spent locked up, never did I have that message delivered to me. Not one time. Nobody told me it was possible to get out there and straighten up and not only live clean, but thrive, right? I don't have family except my kids, blood, right? The rest of them are dead. Or I don't talk to them because they're still in addiction. Or because what I did while I was in addiction. They don't want to mess with me. Try to make amends, that's a different story. So now I have this family, and it turned out to just be friends, right? They were acquaintances, these people I had to see at meetings as if it was a chore. Well, then I started to care about what was going on in their life and how I can help, right? How I can be of service to my fellow addicts. And after a couple of years of doing that, many of these people turned into family. What's more beautiful than that, right? A bunch of misfits and black sheep don't know where else to go. And they find a meeting. And then they find people they have things in common with, right? Like I can talk to people at work because I'm a plumber. And all the people I work with are not addicts. They're very good Christian people. I still carry the message, right? Because I know they know somebody that might be an addict. And I've had a couple people ask me about, well, what's this meeting about? And I'm just planting a seed, you know? I don't know if he's asking for himself, for a friend, family member. But if it's working in my life, and I tell some stories that just, like, their mouths drop open. They don't believe me what days in addiction was like. And to see where I'm at now and what I'm doing now. right? And that's my message. We all have our own message, a testimony, if you will. And so I was just thinking about this when the last speaker was sharing. You can only keep what you have by giving it away. I don't think it was until like just then I was like, wait, that's it. That's what I have that I can give, right? I can only keep that by giving it away. That's my message, my testimony, my experience, my strength, and my hope. If I don't share that with somebody else and I don't help grow this fellowship and I don't connect with other addicts like me, then I can lose that. If I don't stay connected, if I don't keep going to meetings, if I don't read my literature, if I don't share at meetings, if I don't answer the phone, right, when a sponsee calls, if I don't say yes, because that's what I was taught too, say yes. Now I have, on occasion, been given some unsolicited advice, right, suggestions. I've been voluntold to do things. And I say yes. Not always, right? Because sometimes I think I know better. And then I end up doing them anyway. This kind of being one of them, right? I was asked, would you like to do this? I would, right? Did I want to? Probably not, right? Nervous. Of course I didn't want to do this. Same as like sharing my story. Yeah, I also didn't want to do that. People asked me to sponsor them. I also did not want to do that sometimes. Principles before personalities is something I have to work with on a daily basis. But it's also something that I know that's really important, that I try to put that aside. If I can't share that message with you because I'm judging you, right, I'm in the wrong. Right? Or if I'm not listening to the message that you're sharing because of I don't like your attitude or whatever, right, I'm in the wrong. I have to try to put that aside because what we share is like our third tradition, right? The only requirement for membership is a desire to stop using. As long as we have that in common and you go to meetings and you're trying to work a program, even if you fall off the wagon, right? You come back. We have that in common always. You want to quit. That's it. So I can share mine and you can share yours, and at least we have that common ground. We can start from there. And here I am sharing my message. Oh man, so much time. Right. So not too long ago, my meeting, we had kind of opened up a group discussion, and we decided to join area. So we do that. They nominate me for GSR. And I go and do that. No idea what I'm doing. Show up to the area meeting, and now I'm learning the ropes. Right. Learning these ropes. And me and somebody else in the same meeting were talking about like PR, handing out information pamphlets, and what we could do to help carry this message of recovery. So I say that, and another addict says, well, there's a subcommittee for that. And I was like, cool, who's in charge of that? He said, nobody can nominate you. Right? So here I am, and now there's that as well. I seem to continue to add these things to my plate, but it's all for a good cause. It gets me out of myself, right? The same addict had once said, like, you want to have self-esteem, do esteemable acts, right? And that meant a lot. It's like months ago, we lost Andre, right? He had just turned 3, and he was hit by a car in Cookville. So my reservations was definitely if something happened to one of my kids, I'd go out and use, right? So there we are in Nashville at Vanderbilt, and we got to go to a meeting, right? We go to one, but we don't want to leave the hospital. It's a couple days after being there, and we just had to get away for a minute. So when we come back, it's now, my sponsor, her sponsor, our friends, sponsees, everybody from our little town shows up an hour and a half away to show support and love. We couldn't get to meetings, so they brought meetings to us, right? And that's what the fellowship's about. If you see another addict in need, and they're hurting and they need help, it's what you do. You reach out and you try to help them. You continue to share the message. It doesn't matter how many years you have, clean, months, or days. At some point, life is going to happen, right? Life on life's terms. You're not always prepared to deal with. But it's definitely in those times that you need a fellow addict to come give you a hug, right? And just be there or talk to you, right? Share that experience, the strength and the hope. I don't know what else I can do as an addict in recovery. So you're not trying to be a shining beacon of recovery, right? I just want others to know, like I didn't, like my brothers didn't know, that it is possible. You can work 12 steps, right? Have a spiritual awakening and want to carry this message to other addicts who still suffer, right? And we were talking about language. I don't know if I can speak your language. Can't remember how many languages NA, material and literature, is in, how many countries, how many meetings are all across this world. It's in multiple languages, right? In many countries, it reaches many people. There are all kinds of ethnicities, races, nationalities, genders, sexes, religions, those with lack of religion, right? We're all inclusive and we all have but one primary purpose. All of those groups, one purpose, to share the message that you can recover. We do recover, right? It is possible. Thank you.